What's up, everybody? This is the Reluctant Nabi back again. And, well, this is going to be an interesting video in this manner. That I've been proving some stuff, but now there is a new development as a result of the dude that was stabbed by his girlfriend. All right? So, we're going to break that down real quick, but there is something more scary than that. First, let me greet everybody real quick. Hola, bem, vocês los bonjour, mes amis. Quero bom ni konnichiwa. Ni hani ama, sani bonani, jambo herbaigani. Assalamu alaikum and shalom. All right, this is the risk that the BAW is to good Afro men and our seed. And given the heinousness of the crime, if heinous is a word, all right, of that white woman stabbing that dude, everything he was saying about the BAW was, one, from his perspective, but two, it is true. They are a risk to us, more so than that white woman that the police let go. The reason why the white woman is a risk is because the police let her go. Right? If they held them accountable, all right, which is the problem that we have with any woman that attacks an Afro man, they are not held accountable. The only difference is that men in the white community will see her as something evil. Whereas the black community dudes, the simps, the manginas, these hotep crew, will deify these women that's killing us off, our babies, and calling them queens. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you who their queens are. But first, let me remind you. If you can, let's get those thumbs up, and it's important to share. When this channel hits 1,000 subscribers, I am going to be paying attention to those who are sharing my video the most. If it's one person, by the time it hits that, I got something stored up. Going back to the good old days. All right, so let's get this party started right. Okay, let's break something down real quick. All right, so this is Courtney Cleany, and this is her boyfriend was Christian Ambuseli. All right. This woman, by the admission of their closest friends, was the aggressor. She was violent towards him. He can't get no justice because of the color of his skin. And there is more to this, because notice that he's an Afro man. African. All right, African roots. And he's had a problem with the BAW. And he spoke out about it. All right. But in the United States, amongst so-called black people, you can never hold the BAW accountable for anything without the simp minions and other BAWs coming against that man. These women line up when something happens to an Afro man, no matter who he's killed by, unless they can make money off of him. This being one of those cases. He's not getting justice because the police are not going to investigate. And even though, if you look here, she don't have any marks or bruises on her. All she has on her is his blood. All right. she's going to get a pass. You know who else gets a pass? Trashing Afro men. Yeah, you see her down at the bottom. And even when she's shut down, she's able to go to OnlyFans. She's able to go to something.org, and she wants freedom to talk trash about us. Understand the irony. The trash she talks about the Afro men are lies, and such that even though she lies about the prowess of the Afro men, she will still go and date. Understand this, she will still go and date what she would refer to as a beta male. The same critical, understand, the same critical in the garbage trash that she says that the Afro man is, she goes and have a baby by the epitome of what she complains about. All right. So no, there is no justice for an Afro man in the United States, no matter who he dates. When we say we have to save ourselves, Afro men, that means we got to leave the American woman alone and stop being too close to the BAW. Our proximity to her is the biggest danger we've ever faced. And it's a big danger because while these simps deify these women because they got a coochie, and queenify them because, you know, that's a German term. Queen is a German term that Europeans use, and they label the black woman with it, and she has no king or kingdom to be a queen of. And the government that she relies on to get her subsistence, well, it's a democracy. All right, so I don't know where the queendom is. And the democracy was set up to get rid of kings and queens, to give people personal liberties. But I digress. But I mean, just think about that. They're the queens in a place that's a democracy that got rid of that mess is because the royalty, these royals took away people's freedoms. The same way they're taking away that man's freedom to speak, but the simps are okay with giving it back to this woman, Cynthia, and call her a queen, all made up with and all that stuff. Notice the irony. All right, and this thing gets worse. All right, let's break this mess down. I want y'all to pay attention to what I was talking about when I say that if you are an Afro man, you are at risk if you are in the vicinity of most BAW. All right, and you got to use universal precautions on all of them because none of them really have our back. If you want to know if they have your back or nothing, tell them some stuff that they need to pay attention to, or tell them about themselves, or hold them accountable and see how they clap back. Oh, and they'll get their minions to attack you too. You know, the Simp Brigade, the Hotep Brigade, they don't go after white people. They don't go after the white man. Their main line of attack is to keep you from having any rights to be able to speak or do anything. But these women can do murders, do anything. They could trash us, and that's okay with them. Now, even when these women are speaking out, I heard this from this woman, and I sat in on a live, but then I looked at the rest of her videos. Even she's not on our side. But she sees how the further damaging of the Afro man, as we are eliminated by the BAW, her minions, the simps, and those of us that are smart enough to leave the whole damn community alone, she sees herself as being isolated with no one to protect her but the very people that set up the system. And you know what they do to traitors once they get rid of the strong man? Listen to this.
Queen, I totally understand, but currently right now there's a video circulating with a Zoom call between 4 or 5 black women that are saying that they would totally make sure that black men are unalived by police officers. And I was disgusted, and being one of 12 with 8 brothers, and that being somebody's son, I'm just gonna let you know. Colonization is the #1 reason why black women don't respect dark skin versus light skin, why black men don't respect us, and why the rest of the world think that black women are at the scum of the earth.
I'm gonna leave that is. And it isn't colonization, and this is what a lot of these females misunderstand. It isn't colonization that gave this look to the black females. It's that video circulating around of black women getting together to have the police destroy Afro men for telling the truth about what they're doing to the community. And we're going to get into that in a second. She blames all of this on colonization, and she's wrong, because we were doing well when black women weren't destroying us from the inside out. All right? And so we as Afro men, we better take heed. All right? We better take heed. She broke it down. We are held captives by these women if we get with these women in any capacity other than a light friend. If you get with these women in any capacity where you can't get away, you're done. They're going to try to control you, run you, and at the same time telling you they have your back, they're going to be destroying you. They don't care. This woman here on the right, she left her baby for 6 days to die without nothing while she went clubbing. All right? So let me show you what we're dealing with outside of this thing here. Dealing with black women for the last 50, 60 years, been talking trash about the Afro men and been teaching us that we weren't SH and been teaching us that we don't take care of our children when it was all a lie. So that each one of us, as we were growing up, we're saying, well, we're going to take care of our children because our daddies weren't around, only to find out that the mamas didn't want the daddies around. And then as we start to discuss and as daddies come into the picture when you're allowed to have the choice to go find them, you find out the truth. The mama prevented that. The mama was moving you away from the daddy from state to state to state to state. It happened with my own daughter. All right. This is what we're dealing with. And then they go on these shows and then they lie. Outright lie. And if it wasn't for the New York Times, the CDC's doing this research, and us having social media or Google or the internet to be able to go look at that research, we would still believe the lies about ourselves as men that the single black mom taught us intentionally to keep us enslaved in spirit and mind to them, never knowing the truth. A lot of these shows with women only, understand this, women only, where they've been trashing and lying on the Afro male in order to cover up for the wickedness that they've done, like consistently being run through, 80% of them being run through by only 16% of the Afro male population, primarily the ones that come out of prison and jail, expecting them to act like a good man, all right? But it's sexy when they come out with all the muscles because all they care about is their feelings, all right? And so now they go on shows to cover up for their wicked choices in men, they go in there, get mad at Afro men for not choosing them after they've ruined themselves, and then try to destroy the said Afro men. And it's worse. They try to get us straight out of the womb. On your left is a woman who abandons her child in front of the baby daddy's house. Only she took the child to the wrong house. All right, you know this woman's story on the right. Okay? Brothers, this is how bad it is. Louisville, Kentucky, right? This woman, and there's a lot of stories like this. All right, left the baby in the streets with a diaper. But you know the story I was looking for? Remember the story I did a couple of years ago where another black woman left the baby in the snow, in the middle of the street to be run over by a car? The only thing is that two white men and a brother stopped and picked that baby up. And the brother was like, so that's what we doing now. Then the woman ran. They called the police. The woman ran, that's my baby, once they picked them up. All right, and then tried to use the story that a toddler that barely could lift his head crawled out of the car seat and into the middle of the highway or the street in the snow. And that almost still brings tears to my eyes right here to even talk about it. But what's more worrying is the women, the black women will still defend it, and the simps will still call them queens. Because it don't matter what they do, it's the color of their skin that matters. That's why they're pulling for a woman who lets the people who are predators against children off with light sentences, thinking that we've come somewhere. Oh, look at that. Not realizing that a white man chose a woman that was married to a white man to be in a position. That white man chose that other black woman to be in her position. So none of them really earned their position. When the other one was trying to earn it, she didn't get no votes. So she had to be chosen by him to destroy the image that we care about things in our community. Because what that says about us is we don't care about people who let predators go. Apparently, we don't care about our children, because if our children are done in by the BAW, we call her queens. All right. Would we like to find a nice, decent black woman to be with? Well, that was most of us Afro men's goal. All right, we weren't trying to avoid them all of our lives. Some of us had relationships, had nothing but relationships with black women until we woke up. I'll end with this. When you got women throwing babies in subways, all right, and taking out toddlers, and the abortion rate so that they could get a degree. After they get that degree, after all them abortions, they're not worth us, right? They're not worth working with. How can you say you have a conscience and work with not only women that do this, but people that accept this as okay behavior? Think about that. Let me see your comments in the comments section as to what y'all think about that. With that said, I'm out.